It's that time again. Time for 24 Minutes with Brady and Stacy.
Let's switch channels. This show is dull.
You bet.
24 minutes is all we have to talk about today's topics and news and views and listener suggestions.
All that good stuff that Brady and Stacy have brought for years, right here for you. We'll start a timer at the beginning of the show, 24 minutes. At the end of the timer, the show's done.
It doesn't matter if we're solving world hunger or brokering for world peace. Once that buzzer goes off, we're done.
Let's put this show out of its misery.
Now on with the show.
Hey there. Welcome to another edition of 24 Minutes with Brady and Stacy. I'm Bob Brady.
I'm Stacy Sturm.
And we have a superstar guest today.
We do. We're very excited. An old friend of the program.
We're waiting to get it set up as we speak. So I'm not starting Ziggy till I have to. And he heard his name, so now he wants to do something. Go wash my car.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Senator John Hoeven.
Hey, Bob. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Glad to hear that you and Stacy are still, king and queen of the radio.
Oh, you tickle our hearts.
Oh, yes. This is, we're having you on because we're kind of talking about some of our favorite guests that we've had over the years. And you definitely were on our program, I feel like, more than almost anybody else that we had on our program.
Yeah, right. Well, that's good. That's great.
Or is it good?
So
it might be good for us, not necessarily for you.
Well, let me, John, before we get started, let me start our timer here real quick. Ziggy, set a timer for 24 minutes.
24 minutes starting.
There we go.
That's what we do. We do, Senator. We turn the timer on, and at 24 minutes, the show's over, whether you like it or not.
Okay.
No.
All right.
So, Senator Hoeven, you are on. Are you on the floor right now, or just taking a break from the floor in Washington right now?
I just voted, and then I'm in my office here at the Capitol because I voted, and then I'm going to talk to you guys, and then I'll go back and on the next vote.
Okay. So what are the hot button issues? What are you guys talking about today, John?
Well, there's a whole range of one of the ones, of course, that I'm working on that's so important in North Dakota is the Farm Bill, and we're hard at work on that. And then we're also working. I'm on appropriations, so actually I'm the ranking member on the Ag Appropriations Committee. So we're working right now to bring our bill to the floor, which goes to the funding for this year. So we'll have that bill on the floor this week, and then I manage that bill for our side of the aisle. So that's a big deal too. And then of course, we're always working on things related to energy, which is so critically important to North Dakota as well.
Yeah. Did you ever think, John, 25 years ago, like sitting at the Bank of North Dakota, that this would be where you'd be?
Well, I guess I didn't. Not necessarily. You know, it just you never know about those things. But I knew I liked public service, and so but no, I didn't really know for sure. I'm one of those guys. You like your kid goes to college and they go, "Oh, what are you going to do?" And I was always one of those guys who went, "What?" And I don't even mean when I just went to college. I mean, I was in college and it was like I'm a senior, and my dad's going, "Well, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to major in?" And I go, "I don't know, history, I think." And he goes, "Well, why don't you take economics? It'll help you get a job when you get out." I mean, it's kind of like, I'm one of those guys that's always kind of thinking about different things. Some like you and Stacy always knew that you were going to be king and queen of the radio, and long may you reign. But for some of us, we didn't know like that.
Well, the key is, John, we knew, but I don't feel like Bismarck knew for a very long time.
I think it's pretty amazing. How long have you been on the radio now? I mean, it's amazing how time goes by, right? Because we haven't talked for a while. And like I say, we used to talk more frequently. But how long have you been on the radio now?
Together.
We started in 98.
Probably 10 years total together.
Yeah.
Because you did the URL radio when I first launched for the first 6 months or so, first 6 or 9 months.
And then it went away.
And then you went away, but now you're back again. So I would say probably almost a decade total. Bob and I have been doing shows together.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was even longer. When he went away, where did you go? And how could Stacy possibly have carried on without you.
Oh, I didn't. I fell apart. I got cancer. I almost died. And then I'm like, Bob, you have to come back.
Oh, oh. Well, I'm
Yep.
glad you're okay now. You're okay now, though, right?
Yep. So far, knock on my laptop. So far, so good. So yeah.
And you got Bob back.
Yes,
And
I'm
I got
back,
Bob back. Yeah.
How's Mikey and the family?
Doing good. I have 8 grandsons, if you can believe that. We have 8 grandkids,
Wow.
all boys, 11 down to like a year or so, and no girls. Can you believe that?
How does that happen? Like, there's got to be
I don't
some sort of.
know.
I
Yeah.
don't know. That's what my wife says. Mikey goes, how can this happen?
Oh, tell Mikey that I miss her so much. It's probably been several years since I've seen her, and I just miss her.
I know. She loves you guys. Always had fun talking to you guys. And, during her time as First Lady, really enjoyed connecting with you. And you guys were great to her.
What's your day-to-day like, John? Like, for somebody that doesn't know what a state senator does, or senator does, excuse me, what is the day-to-day? Like, you get up, you do some voting, you go out and schmooze with people and go to bed. I mean, what is the day-to-day?
That's one of the things I like about it, Bob, is it's never the same. It's just amazing because you deal with every issue under the sun. And so you can be voting, you can be meeting with constituents, you can be, you can be here in DC. Obviously in August, I was traveling around the state. You can be working on farm issues or energy issues or small business issues, or working to help a constituent with something, or with our great veterans. Of course, 9/11 was yesterday, working with first responders and then working with our veterans. We've got, matter of fact, I'll be back in the state on the weekend, and on Saturday, we're sending off the 188th, which is the Air Defense Artillery from Grand Forks, to yet another mission. This is probably their 11th or 12th deployment in the last 20 years.
Wow.
Amazing, what they've done and continue to do, including guarding the skies over Washington, D.C. And then we'll also be doing a welcome back at the Fargo Dome for our military police company. I've been down to the border 4 or 5 times. I've been in South America. I've been to Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia, Guatemala, worked to try to get the border secured. So, I mean, that's what I like about. I've been to Taiwan and to South Korea, working to push back on China. But that's what I like about this job, guys, is you do things, you work with people, and you do things, and then really. Recently I was up in Devil's Lake. We're trying to get them a new hospital facility, which they badly need. So that's why I like the job. You work with people on a lot of different things that I think are important. And of course, with North Dakota, it's always North Dakotans are the best. Common sense, down to earth, just great to work with.
So let me ask you this: how many people help you? Like, what's your team? How many people are on your team?
I don't know exactly, but I suppose 30 or so between my crew here in DC, and then my state. I have my staff in state. I have offices in Fargo, Grand Forks, Bismarck, Minot, and Watford City.
Wow.
So, yeah. But it's a great crew. Great crew. I love my team. They're just the best.
I had heard it.
They're like you and Stacy, Bob. They're the best.
Thank you.
So I had heard at one point in time there was talk that Senator John Hoeven might run for president, and then out of the blue, Doug Burgum runs for president. So what? When were you in on the back end of that before Burgum announced his presidential run, or did you know about that? Were you surprised as everybody else kind of was about it?
No, he called me up and told me. He called me and told me. I mean, one, I kind of knew he had an interest and has had an interest for quite some time. And then he called and talked to me about it before he announced at length. And I mean, I've known Doug for over 30 years. Well, I shouldn't say over, at least 30 years.
Yeah.
And worked with him, in many different capacities. And so, we're friends as well as people that work together, work associates, whatever you want to call it. But so I've known him well for a long, long time, and so he had talked to me about it, and so no, I wasn't particularly surprised. And of course, I'm excited for him. And I mean, it's funny. One of the things I thought was kind of interesting is, to get in the debates, he had to have 40,000 donors, 40,000 individual donors. Didn't matter how much you donate, but you had to have 40,000 of them. Well, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of donors. And so when, we were talking about that, he never seemed that worried about it. And I said, well, Doug, we're going to have to get busy. And I know, I'll help you. And I know Kevin and Kelly will help you and so on and so forth. But he never seemed that worried about it because I guess he knew he had that idea with his credit card deal or whatever it was, because he didn't seem as focused on it as I thought he should be.
Yeah.
And of course, his plan worked, but it was kind of funny. But that was just one of a lot of things we talked about, as he was preparing to get ready to run for president.
And then what in the hell possessed him
to
what in the hell possessed him to play basketball right before the debates?
Okay, that's another one we got to talk about for a minute because I think that's kind of funny too. I mean, it's not funny they got hurt, right?
No, it's not funny he got hurt, but what in the hell?
But better than that. So he, of course he tore his Achilles, which is painful and difficult. And I've seen him talked about him since. And he's got his foot in a boot and all that, and he's going on a little scooter. But it's so funny. In one of his interviews I saw, that he said, "Yeah, I was going hard to the hoop." I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're 60. You're 60. You're 67 years old, and you're going hard to the hoop. I mean, what does that mean? I mean, at 67, hard to the hoop has a whole. It's not like you're going at a high rate of speed and dunking the ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I thought that was kind of.
I was
funny.
going
and
hard.
Doug, that's how it is.
LeBron
Doug
James
does everything 100. Yes, exactly. Like Michael Jordan. I mean, he does everything 110%. That's just how he is. So he was going. If I were playing basketball, I'd have just said, I was shooting around the basketball and I tore my Achilles, but not him. He was going hard to the hoop, which is just how he is. He does everything 110%. But it's nice. It's nice that he's out there telling the North Dakota story. I think that however things work out, I think that's all good that he's out telling the North Dakota story. I'm so proud of our state. I think it's a great chance for folks to hear about the good things that we're doing.
Well, I think it gets to that point, John. This like North Dakota is just kind of there, like it's like a flyover state, but it's not because there's so much there. Yeah, there's so much there.
No, it's not. No, because we're an ag powerhouse.
Yeah,
we're an energy powerhouse, and we have Brady and Stacy. So we have a lot. That has totally changed.
You're right. Next congressional hearing or Senate hearing, you need to be like, you guys underestimate North Dakota. One of our biggest exports. It's Brady and Stacy.
I should bring you two in. Yeah, I should bring you two in for like an ag hearing or an energy hearing or something like that. Just have you two testify about. I mean, I think all the senators would enjoy you two immensely. So.
I'm
sure they would. Speaking of that, so let me ask you this. I feel like sometimes it's like professional wrestling, John. You guys all get along, right? You guys and gals all get along.
We get along. We have different views. Obviously I'm a Republican. I'm conservative. My colleagues are conservative. We believe in more limited government. We believe more about, empowering the individual, less regulation, less taxation, just less federal government, more emphasis on states and local control and really on the individual. And that's more our orientation. And our colleagues across the aisle, they view government, they just believe government has a bigger role and they generally believe in more government. And so it's just it's a philosophical difference about what works for the people of this great nation.
Now I know I watch a lot of social media TikToks. I mean, that's my job. A lot of people are concerned right now with inflation of everything, groceries, gas, rental prices. Has there been any talk about anything being done on a federal level, John?
Yeah, and see, that goes right back to the last question you asked, and that's right on. And the reason we have inflation is too much government, too much spending, and too much regulation. And and of course, we have a Democrat administration, we have a Democrat Senate, and a narrow margin for Republicans in the House. So really, what you're seeing is look at gas prices right now, Stacey. I mean, we're back up to almost $4 a gallon on average, and that's because this administration is actually restricting how much oil and gas we can produce in our nation, and we do it with the best environmental stewardship. And so instead of restricting it, they need to really, let our great entrepreneurs and companies, and North Dakota, of course, we're an absolute leader. We should be producing far more, and here we are producing less than when this administration came into office. And that's just one example of how they're driving up prices. But that, and then all the government spending, are crowding out, investment by the private sector, and then the whole thing, getting people back to work and back in the workforce, all those things. And that goes to regulation and that kind of thing. Our border policy is a mess. They need to secure the border. I've been working to secure the border, and then have our immigration be merit-based, where the people that come in have the skills we need for the jobs that we have available. And those things would make a huge difference in terms of inflation. And you're right, inflation is rough. I mean, you go to the store, anything you look at, you just can't believe how much prices have gone up. It's a real problem for people.
Well, and I feel like COVID happened, and a lot of people were like, we understand things have to go up because it's harder to get things now during COVID. But that was 3 years ago. So now we feel like it's all just bullshit. I don't want to pay $5 for bread anymore.
It's a gouge.
Exactly, Stacey. But think about it and see that. So during COVID, everything gets shut down and restricted, that kind of thing. People aren't out working, but at the same time, the federal government's spending money. So you have more money bidding up goods and services, but people aren't working providing those goods and services. So what do you get? Higher prices, inflation. And that's what we've got to wring out of the system.
What's your
the whole shutdown thing, that was way overdone, and people are still unhappy about it, and rightfully so. Yeah. We've got to trust people. And again, that goes back to kind of philosophy of government. People, we have to trust people to make their own decisions, and for the most part, try to keep government out of their way. There's just too much federal government nowadays.
There's a happy medium there, but it never gets to that happy medium. It's either one extreme or the other. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a common sense. Like, this is how it should be. No, let's try it this way.
There you go.
That's
what I always say about North Dakotans: common sense. That's why every time I come back to North Dakota, it's like you can just feel it. I mean, versus being in Washington or frankly any big city, North Dakota are just grounded. They have good common sense.
What's your future, John? What are you doing after this? Like, what's your next run? What are you going to do? What are you thinking?
Is it President John Hoeven?
Mikey and my kids are training me in the art of babysitting grandkids, so I know that's certainly part of my future. I am. They kind of trust me with the grandkids. I'm not fully unsupervised, but with adequate supervision, they're starting to trust me with the grandkids a little bit, poquito. So that's huge fun. And of course, Mikey just loves. One of my definitions of joy, guys, is grandma with grandkids. Absolutely, one of my definition of joy. She just loves it, and like I say, our oldest is 11, so they're at that age where once in a while we get to help out, and that's great fun. And other than that, obviously doing the best job I can for the great folks of North Dakota.
It is funny that we trust our fate of the country in your hands, but Mikey's like, I don't know about the grandkids.
Wait a minute, Stacey. What do you?
That is a good point.
Stacey, I've tried that argument on her. I've tried that. Well, if the people of North Dakota can, kind of trust me. How about you?
Yes.
I've tried to sell her on that a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of gives me that look,
I'm in charge of 800,000 people in the state. I can't take care of 8 grade kids.
Yeah, it's kind of the eye roll look. Bob, have you ever gotten that ever?
Oh yeah, please. I mean, yeah.
Ever gotten that kind of eye roll?
Yes, all the time.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah. Most guys have.
Bob and I aren't even married, and I give him the eye roll.
That happens.
I thought you two were married. I thought you finally tied the knot.
No,
No.
no.
There's been lots of changes over the years, but that's not one of them.
I am I think everybody thought you were married, you two. I'm a little surprised.
You know what's funny
Okay.
is back in the day, there was at least 2 or 3 people that did ask if we were like married or husband and wife, and I'm like, no, we actually get along on the air. What would make you think we're married? We
Yeah.
actually get along. So
Well, I will admit I knew you weren't married. I knew
Yeah.
you guys are friends, but I did not think
Yeah.
you were married.
So what is the biggest issue in your mind coming? Well, actually, let me ask you, what has been the hardest issue for you to tackle? What has been the thing that has been the hardest for you in all the years of you being a senator now?
You know, I don't know that I can point to any one thing. You know, obviously it always, I think, starts with keeping people safe and sound, making sure we have the strongest military in the world. You know, it was 9/11 was yesterday, or the anniversary of 9/11 was yesterday. And first and foremost, you know, people have to be safe. And I don't just mean from a standpoint of having the strongest military, which we have to have. I'm on defense appropriations. I work with that all the time. And the technology, Stacey, you just can't believe. I mean, we have the finest men and women in uniform in the world. They, you know, it's all volunteer. They're trained better than anybody. We've been in, frankly, in the war on terror for 20 years, so they're battle tested. I mean, they're just incredible. But the technology that we have to put in to make sure that they stay ahead of the curve against adversaries like China or Russia, or even rogue actors like Iran or North Korea, and so on and so forth, terrorist organizations. And we have to be on the front edge with all that technology, and, you know, with all the unmanned stuff, which you see us doing now in Grand Forks, the satellite stuff. Again, a lot of that'll be run out of Grand Forks. The whole nuclear mission out of Minot is all being upgraded. All this technology that, you know, it's just unbelievable. And, you know, we are big in the unmanned aircraft, but now you've got the unmanned sea craft, both on and underwater. It's unbelievable. And then the other thing is the law enforcement. We've got to back the blue so people feel safe at home and in their communities. And you know, North Dakota, we have incredible law enforcement, but boy, in our cities, it's gone the wrong way, and we need to get a grip on that. I talked about border security and the whole economy thing, and then the education of our kids. We have great education in North Dakota, great, but a lot of places, they've really fallen behind, and that's about the future of the country. So, you know, I could go on, but it's not one thing. And that's what I like about it. Again, it's working with good people to try to get the best results that you can. And we'll always have challenges. We'll always have challenges, but we have absolutely the greatest country and the greatest people in the world, which is why everybody wants to come here, you know.
What this is kind of an off the beaten path question, but you have an elementary school named after you.
Uh-huh.
How does that feel? I mean,
Is that when you knew you made it?
yeah, I
Is
mean,
when
you
you
have
get
a
a
school
school?
named after you. That's the, I mean,
No, it was you know, it was an honor. But it's a reminder for me that we can never, you know, I can name every one of my elementary school teachers to this day, because they had such an incredible impact on me. And for me, it's a reminder of, you know, education is about individual empowerment. And I remember early on, we were talking about, you know, political philosophy. And I said, as a Republican, I believe in the individual and empowering the individual. You achieve, you know, your self-satisfaction, your sense of self-worth, and all that through what you achieve, not necessarily what somebody does for you. And that starts with that education. So for me, it's you know, obviously an honor, but a huge reminder of how we have to be committed to education. So important for our kids, and for them to be able to do whatever they want to do. Maybe even grow up someday and be a radio star. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
God, no! Please, I hope for a better future for our
when
children.
when
than
you
that.
visit your elementary school, do you get free lunch?
You know, I actually, was that a trick question, Bob?
No,
Because
I just
actually, when I did-
because,
All of a sudden, the headlines read: John Hoeven steals kids free
no, it's not
lunches.
stealing. It's your school.
No,
Free lunch
Because
for John
actually, when
Hoeven, but not students.
No, that's not what I meant.
It-
Not at all.
no. Bob, I'm not eating the children's lunch. I promise.
Okay.
I'm not doing that but here, what I will tell you is when I go to any school, because when I go visit a school, they almost always offer me to have lunch with them.
Of course.
It's kind of a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, John,
yeah.
have this cheese pizza. Oh, great. This is what I was looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, don't you two ever go visit?
Oh.
I mean, if you two have not gone and visited a school, Bob, you should, because the kids would just love Stacy. I mean, they would love her.
Oh, I know they would.
And,
hey, John,
and you, Bob, would get a free lunch.
I know. I'm coaching kids at my daughter's middle school right now, and they love me. They just love the way I coach them.
What are you coaching?
Oh, I coach basketball and softball. I do it all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here's how long we have known John Hoeven is I remember him and Mikey came up to the hospital after I had Summer, and you guys gave her a baby blanket and some other little things. And she is 23 right now. She's
Stop
23
it.
years old.
Stop it.
Yeah,
No.
she's 23 right now.
I think you meant to say 13. I know you.
Yeah,
meant to
that's
say
what I meant.
13,
I'm really
and
bad
you-
at math.
you
That's why I became
slipped.
DJ.
You
There goes
slipped and you slipped and said 23. And I
There
know
goes
you
the
meant-
timer.
There's
Sorry,
no.
that's the end of the show, John. We gotta
That's
end the
it.
show.
We're done with you. You're
That's
lucky
it.
because I had all sorts of really hardball questions lined up, and we can't do them now. So you're a lucky
good.
fella.
Well, call Kevin Kramer and feed those to him.
I'm
He
not
can
even
handle.
gonna go
He can
there.
handle a hard. He can handle a tough question. Or Kelly Armstrong. Kelly's smart as a whip. He can handle a tough question.
Senator Hoeven, thank you
or
for being
go-
on today. The
or-
timer says we got to go. This is
Or
it.
Governor Burgum. You can get Governor Burgum on there and ask about his presidential run.
I don't think he's going to return our calls. He's not as enamored with us as you are, sir.
I can't. I don't believe it.
Oh, no,
Well,
it's
it's fun talking to you guys.
Thanks,
again.
John.
It's been too long. Yeah, great to be with you. Take care, guys.
You too. Talk to
Okay.
you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to 24 Minutes with Brady and Stacy.
That was the worst thing I ever heard.
It was terrible.
It was horrendous.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, there were parts of it I liked.
Yeah, I liked a lot of it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was great.